me, I just happened to be up and sitting in front of my computer about 4:45 a.m. and she sent me a picture of it on this Florida wildlife page. And so I immediately sent it to Lori Mathis and Barb and a couple other people, and everybody was kind of freaking out. And Barb actually commented on her post, found it, and said, did you put this on eBird? Did you put it on any of the birding forums? And she was like, oh, no, I haven't done my list. And it was like the next day. And so we all kind of jumped on it. And I met Barb and Larry down there, and I just put it was only about an hour and 45 minutes, and it was the South Jetty, and you walked right out there, and this lady had put up pictures. I mean, quickly, I got there at about 7:30, and there was 2 people already looking. They were like, no, we've been here since before sunrise, nobody's seen it. And it was Sunday morning, so it was full of fishermen and crazy radios playing and cigarette smoke and everything else. And so we finally saw the phalarope about 10 o'clock. I was supposed to be back in Orlando by noon, so I was kind of freaking out. This is no exaggeration. 3 different people came up to me and said, hey, what are you guys looking for? And I said, well, there's this masked booby. It's a tropic bird. It shouldn't be here, but it's here, supposedly. And all 3 of these people pulled out their cell phone and go, oh, you mean this bird?
Wow.
Wow.
They found it yesterday on their cell phones. And I was so mad. I was like, well, let me know if you find any other super rare birds. I'd appreciate it. So we got really good looks at the phalarope. It landed on the shore, and then I realized, looking at pictures, it probably was going to lose its left foot. So it was hanging by a thread. And then I also heard 2 days after I went, so probably Tuesday, Lori Mathis was down there, and a fisherman hooked the booby. So that's not good. And they got the hook out, it flew around and came back and landed on the same rocks. So, but I haven't seen any reports of it in the last few days. So.
Where's that from?
Fort Pierce in the South Jetty.
But I mean, the range of it.
Oh, it's a southern bird. Like most people, like I hit up Gundy about it to see if he needed it. And he goes, well, we had one in the dry tortugas from like a mile away. Like
It's the one that breeds in the dry tortugas?
Yeah, but it heads south pretty quick. So, and I think they've only had one down there, maybe a couple times in the last 10 years. There was a couple biologist guys that were there. I was talking to them about it, but.
Oh, no, so it's not the regular one. What's the regular one in the dry tortugas?
It's a brown booby.
Brown booby.
Brown booby, which is what we had over at Sebastian and earlier in the year and stuff. But, for her to get that bird, and when she put it in eBird, she misidentified the phalarope as Wilson's. And I think Grosskopf hit her up and was like, hey, those are actually red-necked. So, but we only saw the one that was, foot was injured. But I haven't looked at the list to see if anybody has seen it in this week since like Tuesday.
I haven't seen it listed since.
No.
I was thinking about taking a trip, but if it's not being seen, I don't want to.
Yeah, that Florida Birding and Rarities has turned into kind of a really go-to page for everybody, which is nice. And so as soon as we saw it, I actually left and was almost back to 95. And Barb called me and said, it's here. And so I went back and got it way out in the water, but at least I got it. And then it came in and ended up landing on the rocks later after I left, of course. So.
Okay, they didn't take me, I guess.
It was a cool bird.
My request is still pending for Florida Birding and.
Oh, I don't know who runs it, but it's a really good one just because, a lot of it's south, but it's, you'll see stuff from all over the state, and it's usually, the really good birders are putting stuff on there. So with good directions and GPS. So. Anyway.
Okay, we have 12 participants. Let's see if we can see them. Shauna's here. Wendy got here. Okay, welcome everybody. Let's see if we can see them. We have to do that. Hi, Wendy.
Hi, how are you?
Good. I'll introduce the team. This is Kathy up here on the right, and this is Jack, and this is Sam over here, and this is Susan. We're the ones that put this together.
Oh, nice. Well, thank you so much for having us tonight.
Thanks for doing it.
Yeah.
Happy to be here.
How come I can't see everybody? All 14. Let's see. Gallery view. Yes. Oh, there's Paula. Hi, Bob and Paula.
Hi.
Where's everybody else? So how do you, Jack, help me out. How do you see everybody?
You've got an arrow at the bottom of your a list of people, and you probably can't look at everybody at once and also see the PowerPoint. So if you hit the arrow, it should take you down and scroll you through all the other people on the call.
Yeah. If you go to your upper right, Deborah, it says speaker view. You don't want to be in speaker view.
Oh,
And then if you click on participants, then you can actually see the list.
yeah, I can see the list. That's not hard, but I like to see all the faces. Hi.
Do you see a plus sign next to your face where your image is? Like on mine, I have to hit that plus sign, and it shows me everybody.
Oh, show non-video. Okay, no. Oh, well. Hi, Angela.
Hello.
And you that I have my cursor on, we have not met you before. Where are you from? You see in the middle there?
Oh.
GP Prelic?
I'm not
Ask
seeing.
unmute. Hi, where are you from?
I'm up in New Jersey right now, and I'll be in Florida in another week or two.
Oh, great. For the season?
Probably for about 2 months.
Oh,
Going
perfect.
back and forth between New Jersey and Florida.
Okay. Well, we have our festival December 3rd through 7th.
I've heard about it. I'm looking forward to it.
Good. All right. Well, it's 7, so we'll get started. Welcome, everybody. And this Google thing doesn't let us go backwards. Just 1 second. Okay, so tonight we're going to just have announcements. Then the plant of the week is a new thing that Susan came up with. And then we're going to do mystery bird and birds of Halloween, and then the program Choosing Optics by Redstart Birding. We've got Wendy Clark and Angela here. So, just a sec. Okay, so being that I was a teacher, I like to make sure everybody gets the concept. So in Choosing Binoculars, they're going to go over this, but I thought I'd give you a preview. So what's the first number? Let's say you're 8x42s, like many of us have. What's the first number mean? First number is the magnification or zoom power compared to the naked eye. 7 or 8 power binoculars are bright and have a wide field of view, making it easier to find birds and to follow them in flight. Whereas 10 power have greater magnification, but a narrower field of view and may make it harder to focus on the bird. Okay, they'll be going over all this. And then the second number, the 42, is the diameter of the objective lens. That's the fat end of the tube and has to do with gathering light and producing brighter images. So the smaller than 30 is lightweight, but they aren't bright enough to show detail in poor light, and larger than 42 gets heavy. Okay, that was just a little introduction to their talk. All right, upcoming bird chats, November 5th. We're very excited to have Sparrows by Adam Kent. He's a real sparrow aficionado and expert from Gainesville. And then November 12th, going along with the holiday season, we have Wild Turkeys by Jay Exum. And then November 19th is our third Thursday regular Orange Audubon program. And that will be not on Zoom like this with the link that you have to get, but that will be on YouTube Live. So all you do is go to YouTube and put in Orange Audubon Society, and it'll come up at 7 o'clock. And that topic is bird banding studies by Jim McGinty, who comes from the Dunedin area. It should be really good. All right, Kathy.
Okay. Yep, I'm like, okay. So we have our bird survey coming up a week from Saturday. There's still a couple of spots left. If you want to come see beautiful Wekiwa Springs Park, the gem of the Florida State Park system, send me an email. The red-headed woodpecker is one of the regular things we see out there. And it's a great place for them to breed because the habitat is managed just great. So that opportunity is there.
Okay. And then the North Shore Birding Festival, I know you've all heard about it already, but it's December 3rd through 7th, and registration is open. You just go to orangeaudubonfl.org/festival, and you can read all about the 42 fabulous trips. They're limited to 10 people each with 2 leaders for social distancing, and we're taking all kinds of precautions, but people are ready to get out and learn from the enthusiastic leaders, so it should be really fun. Okay. And this was an idea from Susan of having Plant of the Week, and this plant everybody asked me about, and I learned it when I was doing one of the kiosk displays. It's on the Upland kiosk display, which is toward the end of the drive. It is Southern Amaranth. Okay, and its seeds are wonderful for the birds. There's a yellow warbler to the right. And in fact, it's in the family Amaranthaceae, and some species, related species such as spinach and forms of beet and chard, those are in that family, are used as vegetables, including sugar beet. And the seeds of amaranthus, lamb's quarter, quinoa, and others are edible and are used as cereals. So kind of cool. I can't really think of a place where I've seen it like it is at Lake Apopka. But anyway, it's there and the birds like it. So thanks, Susan, for the suggestion. And I will turn this over to you.
All right, so today we have a mystery bird. We're doing the Halloween theme today. So I chose my bird, the bird equivalent to Vlad the Impaler, AKA Dracula. He was known for impaling his enemies on spikes.
Overhead.
This bird also puts its prey on spikes. And it looks like we do have pretty much 2 correct answers, because it is the loggerhead shrike, or also known as the butcher bird. So we can go to the next slide. The reason this bird kind of is an 8 to 9 inch songbird, but it kind of thinks it's a raptor. So it will be up above. It hunts like a raptor. It sits on lines and twigs, fences, and it will go down, grab its prey. It does kind of shake the prey if it's like a vertebrate to try to break the neck. It is a very strong bird as far as pretty much using its head and neck to beak. Loggerhead does mean like butcher block, which I didn't know that. But it does have a very big head and neck. It does impale the prey because it lacks talons to hold it. Without talons, the bird is unable to it kind of doesn't have a good control of the prey, so it will impale it or tuck it into a little hole to help eat it. It also will catch like poisonous butterflies and frogs and impale those and come back after it's decomposed a little and the poison has kind of gone out of the prey. I thought it was real interesting that for a Halloween bird, it also has a black mask. The eye black is pretty similar to what our sports people wear to keep the glare out. And what they did, there were some researchers that actually did a study where they painted the black to see what would happen on these birds. And basically what they found out is with the black, they're able to face into the glare and hunt, so the prey won't see their shadow when they go after it. The birds that were painted, they couldn't do that. They had to turn the other way and they had very less successful hunting. The other thing that makes this my Halloween bird is it actually has almost a little pair of fangs. They're not really fangs, but they're tomial teeth at the end of the beak, the one on each side, and these little teeth help to hold the prey a little bit tighter. There is some people that think it also is part of how the bird kind of, when it grabs a vertebrate prey, it might actually use those teeth to sever the spinal cord or to make the prey easier to handle, because these birds can, they can do prey as big as themselves. Like there are stories of them taking down a cardinal, which would be the same size bird. So they can do that. I think mostly around here, we mostly see them with lizards, but but a very interesting bird. And we can take a look at where the distribution is on the next slide. And we have them here all year round. So we can, if you want to get out in the summer and look for them, you should be able to see them. They are considered a common bird, but they have, as far as the quantity of birds, they've kind of seriously gone down as far as depleted due to loss of habitat, because they do like that, like fields, things like that, which we've kind of losing a lot of that habitat. Also, the farms are using a lot of pesticides and that, which do kill their prey. So we kind of have had a reduction, a significant reduction in those. They're considered a significantly impacted. So very good.
Very good.
Any questions about the shrike?
No, but it's certainly not common in Ohio. It's only, you can only find it in one spot in our state. So feel very lucky that's a common bird for you in Florida.
Great.
Okay, so oftentimes with scary movies, you'll hear one of these birds, and this is a tough one. Here in Florida, we have 2 of these types of birds, and they are really hard to tell apart. So does anyone want, except for Sam, because Sam knows, the picture on the right is his, but does anyone want to guess which one is which before I play the call? The call is a dead giveaway once you learn it. So see if anyone, no one's venturing a guess. They're tough. They're really, really tough. But their calls totally give them away. So I'm going to go ahead and play the call on the right. And then I know you'll know this one. Okay, yeah. Yes, you are correct, Shauna. All right, so that's the one I just played. What is that? I'll play another call of it. This is common bird. We hear this a lot. There's a lot of them at Wakaiwa. Okay, so I don't see any answers here. Anyone want to, the one on, this is the one on the right. So I'm going to play them one more time. Give you guys a chance. What is this bird? We hear this all the time. American crow. Yes, Doreen. Thank you. So the other guy, and I already had Shauna, was it Shauna guessed it?
Mm-hmm.
Guess the fish crow. Well, here's how you tell. You can go ahead, go to the next slide, the same pictures. So that was the American crow. And this joke is not from me. I got it from Bob Sanders. I heard that Bruce Anderson also has told this joke. So what does the fish crow say when you ask if it's an American crow? Okay, hopefully this is the right version of the call. Play this version. He usually goes, oh, stop my recording. So when you ask a fish crow, are you American crow? Go, So the fish crow is got a lot more nasal sound to it. And even in All About Birds, it says it's very hard to distinguish the two. The American crow is slightly larger with slightly broader wingtips. And then habitat. Fish crows are generally found around waterways, coastlines, lakes, and waterways. But they can be found in, you know, say like over in the Lake Apopka Wildlife Drive, you'll find both, but there's water there. And of course, American crows like open areas. They like man-made areas, you know, dumps, city parks, you know, malls, all that's all good for them. Very interesting that the American crows will congregate in the wintertime and sleep in communal roosts. And they can be from a few hundred to up to 2 million crows. Can you imagine 2 million crows? Oh my gosh. And some of those communal roosts have been forming, you know, for over 100 years. American crows are not scavengers like people might think, because their bill is not strong enough to pry through flesh. They have to wait for something else to open up the carcass. That's sort of another Halloween tie-in. The fish crow also, both crows will rob from other animals. They'll both rob from nests. The fish crow will cache food. I didn't know this. So if they find a good source of food, they'll put it in moss. They'll put it in crevices and tree bark. American crows have been seen distracting animals to get their food, like distracting river otters to steal fish. Crows in general are really intelligent. They've been known to solve multi-step problems. If you want to look up an interesting video, look up the crows of New Caledonia, because they've done some really amazing research. Other research with crows, crows that can remember faces, and they pass that knowledge down. So, you know, crows are not the most exciting thing sometimes that we see out, but they're really interesting to watch. So there's the fish crow and American crow. And now I think it's Sam, maybe. Oh, the distribution? Okay. As you can see, fish crows are in the southeast and the eastern seaboard. And then American crows are pretty much all over the United States. Now, Sam.
Actually, it's Jack.
Jack. Oh, sorry. Now, Jack.
Hi guys. We can, if people can use chat to guess what this particular bird is. I'll give you a hint. It's a type of vulture.
Vulture.
Beautiful picture.
Thank you. Well, I guess I'll start.
Has it?
Good job, Paul. Vultures are often underappreciated because of their ugly appearance and the dirty job that they do in nature. But to vultures, bald is beautiful. Their bald heads help to keep them clean while they eat decomposed animals, often called carrion. And I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that quite right.
Yeah, that's right.
But first, let's briefly explore the turkey vultures, which is what's pictured there. To find their food, turkey vultures have an incredible sense of smell. And this is highly unusual, as most birds have no sense of smell at all. So with turkey vultures, it is their bird superpower. Turkey vultures and other vultures can also regurgitate all their food to ward off predators, which is, I guess, keeping in the Halloween theme as well. Turkey vultures prefer small carcasses and will stand on their carcass while feeding. And they also use a very low altitude foraging technique. And then if we could advance the slide. Yeah, there's their range map. And then advance it again, please. And now we have the next vulture. And we'll see if somebody gets this one. Yay, black vulture. Unlike turkey vultures, black vultures do not use their sense of smell, which is much, much less than a turkey vulture, to locate carcasses. Therefore, turkey vultures are often efficient at locating the carcasses and almost inevitably precede black vultures to the carcass. Soaring black vultures monitor turkey vultures, fly above them, and then quickly join successful forages at the newly discovered carcass. Black vultures appear to depend heavily on this behavior to find food, and then they'll have like a cascading event where if one goes down on food, others from all over the place will see it and come down as well. Black vultures also use a communal roost, and it's a very important part of their social life. It serves as the meeting place for the adults and their young to assemble as an assembly point for foraging groups. And also appears to function as an information center so that individuals that were unsuccessful in foraging can better locate food by following roost mates to carcasses. Once a carcass is located, black vultures often accumulate rapidly and displace turkey vultures from the food. Because of their foraging strategy depends on keeping many other foragers in view, black vultures fly higher than turkey vultures. Black vultures feed very quickly, and in contrast to turkey vultures that feed much slower, in part because they are always spend a lot of time in an alert position. And lastly, black vultures may rely on a closely related groups to warn them of approaching predators so they may be able to feed more efficiently. If you could advance the slide again, continuing the Halloween theme. And another shot of a black vulture. And there's their range map. Remember, bald is beautiful. And next is...
Thank you, Jack.
Oh, it's me. Hey, everybody, I'm Sam. I was keeping with the Halloween theme. How about those colors? Does anybody know what that bird is? There we go. Paula again, it seems to be the star of the show today. She's 4 for 4, I believe. So yeah, if you want to advance the slide, that is the Baltimore Oriole. All three of those pictures, I took those at Mead Gardens this year. Actually, these two are from the spring. The last one was just from a couple of weeks ago, the one that was eating the mulberries. These guys really like nectar. Almost any plant that hummingbirds like, coral honeysuckle, anything like that, they'll go on. And this is a tababui. And at Mead Gardens, we had 2 different trees in opposite ends of the park, and we figured out that we probably had 2 different sets of Baltimore Orioles as well, because they just went crazy in those trees every morning and just destroy these trumpets. And I've got the same in my yard, although I do not have the Baltimore Oriole. So I don't know what the problem is with that. As far as feeders for these guys, I've tried them too. It's usually slices of orange. They make little feeders with like a little dish, and word on the streets is grape jelly, the cheapest grape jelly that you can find. They seem to really like it. Paul Huber, his feeders, I was over there yesterday, and I think we had 6 come in and eat the jelly and just hanging out, and all I ever get is carpenter ants. So figure, good luck is all I can say. I went back through my eBird and looked. If you want, you can advance the slide. On my eBird for 2020, I had my first sighting of the year was January 2nd. These guys overwinter with us for sure. And I had a sighting January 2nd. My last sighting for the spring was April 21st. And then my first of the fall was September 27th. And now we're seeing them just about every day at Mead Gardens. Like I said, they're around. They're a super cool bird. The males don't get that super bright until their second calendar year, their second molt. And until then, the males and the females resemble each other a lot. And like with most songbirds, once they're in adult plumage, the females are a little drabber. The blacks aren't near as popping and harsh. It's more of a gray for the females because they're on the nest. And unfortunately, we don't get them nesting here, but they do a really cool nest where they actually have like a hanging basket, which is awesome if you've ever seen it. They're super cool. So, and then if you want, just real quick, for the frequency bar chart for these guys is really cool. for any bird. If you're on eBird, if you haven't used it, it's definitely worth checking out, because you can click over to it and pretty much see, especially if you can't figure out what you're seeing, or if you're looking for a specific bird, you know, it really doesn't make much sense to look for these guys in July. So it's very helpful to explore eBird and explore some of these tools that they give you, but especially these bar charts really, really come in handy. So.
Because they're in Ohio in July. They're
yes,
with us.
they breed in the Midwest, and so they come all the way up to the Great Lakes, and that's why you guys get the cool nests and the baby birds and everything else. We get the first years and the juveniles and stuff down here. But yeah, they back to the other map. It's pretty much the whole Midwest. So. And you know, they're a cool bird. Actually, I was gonna play the song real quick, and then I'll pass it back over to Deb. But let me play this real quick if you can hear it. Can you hear that? And if anybody that's local, they're being seen every morning at Mead Gardens in the mulberry tree. And I don't know how much longer that tree's going to have fruit on it, but there's also a Philadelphia vireo in there too. So if you need that, go to Mead Gardens in the morning. So anyway, that's the Baltimore Oriole. Happy Halloween, everybody. I'll toss it back to Deb.
Thanks, Sam. Okay, well, I'm just going to quickly introduce our speakers. We're going to do this at the end. Okay. Let me stop my share. Wendy Clark is the president and director of Birdwatchers Digest, the magazine, the little magazine, and Redstart Birding, their optics company that formed a few years ago. And Angela is the sales manager or technical person. What's her title?
Well, I'm the owner and publisher of both Redstart Birding and Birdwatchers Digest. Angie is our Redstart Birding manager. So she's the person that handles all of the calls and shipping and all the details of dealing with people and helping them choose their optics. I get to do that from time to time, but Angie's she's the brains behind everything we do as far as choosing optics. So I wanted her to be here with us today so she could lend her wisdom and knowledge into the conversation. So Angie's Redstart Birding manager and I'm the owner.
Okay. Well, welcome from Ohio, and we'll give you the floor and teach us about choosing optics.
All right. Well, it sounds like, first of all, thank you so much for having us. And Angie and I have really been looking forward to this. I had the pleasure of joining some of you from your group in January. We were at the Lake Apopka Festival and had a really great time. We headed over to Space Coast after that, but I'm coming down to the festival this December. So I will see those of you who will be there. I'm going to set up and sell optics and drive my bird van down and be with you guys. I'm looking forward to getting out of the early part of winter here and joining you guys in beautiful Florida. We wanted to talk to you today because whether or not you are a seasoned veteran birder or whether you're new to birding or someplace in between, choosing the tool that you use to see birds is very important. And it's basically as important as, you know, a pair of shoes, you know, or eyeglasses. It's a very personal purchase. It's something that is unique to you because it has to feel good to you. So not every binocular fits every person, just like not every pair of shoes or every pair of eyeglasses is suitable for every person. So Angie and I are going to talk today about things to consider when you're making a purchase. And also, some of you who have been birding a long time, if you're like me, you probably are at the point where you have several pairs of binoculars now that you like to use. And why does anybody need more than one? You know, so we're going to talk about all of those questions. So I'm going to do a little Q&A with Angie as if I were a client, because I thought that would be a good way to sort of get her to talk about all the wonderful facts and features of optics. So Angie, you and I talk about this all the time, but Angie deals with the public every day. She takes phone calls, she answers live chats on email, on our website, redstartbirding.com, and she is constantly answering questions about optics. So Angie, the first question I want to ask you is, what are the most important things to consider when you're choosing a binocular for bird watching?
Really, a really good question. I guess there are some things that you need to consider that maybe you weren't familiar with, like for instance, IPD, which stands for interpupillary distance. Each face is different. Some older or younger friends have smaller faces or larger, and so that's something you need to consider. So it's something to look for, especially with the specifications. Most binoculars are between 56 to 72 millimeters, but for our children and stuff, you want to look for something that's probably about 50. And so to find your IPD is to measure from the center of one pupil to the other. A lot of times if you're an eyeglass wearer, it'll be on your prescription. So that's a good thing to think of that maybe you haven't thought of. And I guess what you're wanting out of the binocular would be the thing. Like, are you a kayaker? Are you a hiker? You know, so you want to think of what type of birding you'll be doing the most to figure out which one to suit you.
I just want to say, I think the reason her volume is fading, if everybody who's not speaking could mute their, hit the mute button, that'll help Angie. I think it's the noise cancels noise in the settings. So sorry about that, guys.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay. No, not you. You're great. But I think if everybody else could mute, that'll keep you from fading out a little bit. I think we got most of it, but you started to fade a little. So Angie, when people call you, do they have an idea of what they want already, or are some people just starting out? Let's pretend I am someone who is, I'm not so worried about budget, but I'm new to birding and I'm looking for a binocular that's going to be easy to use and work for me and not break the bank. How do you start talking to someone like me that calls you? I'm a new bird watcher. I'm not, I don't want to spend an arm and a leg, but I do want to invest in this hobby that I love. And I'm looking for something that is good. How do I go about deciding what to choose?
Okay. One of the first things, I don't start the conversation out with about money. That's like the last thing I try to bring up, because, there is an optic in every price range for someone's needs. So I start out with, like I mentioned before, like, what type of birding are you doing? Are you more into shorebirds, or are you into, a more wooded area, or versatile? So usually most of the time people are looking at the 8x42. But a lot of people think that, well, I want to see the most detail and whatever. So they're like, I need bigger, I need more magnification. And that's not always the case. A lot of times if you have a binocular that it's just not doing it for you anymore, it may not be that you need to move up to like a scope. It could be that you just need to move to a different price range to have a higher quality of glass. So it's kind of a little Q&A of like figuring out, well, are you wanting, most binoculars are usually around 24 to 25 ounces. And so sometimes that's too heavy and someone is looking for more of an 8x32 or something lighter. But it varies from customer to customer, because I will have some people that will call in and they'll be like, okay, this is what I want. And that makes my job really easy. But then there's some people who are just like, okay, I heard of this thing called birding. and so what do I need? So, or I have a child that I'm wanting to. So it really, it's knowing the kind of questions to ask. So it's, who is it for? And then I guess price eventually comes up, but I really try to stay away from that because, like I said before, there are binoculars in every price point that will do what you need it to do.
Great. Well, let's talk about those numbers for a minute because
Mhm.
Deborah started out our evening with a few slides talking
Thank you.
about the different numbers. I know she made our job kind of easy, but it is confusing. And, I've been birding for quite a while now. And I feel like, I've kind of been forced to learn what they mean because I own this optics company now. I've got to understand what they're about. And I really do. I get it now. And I, like you, was a little bit deceived. I thought bigger was better. More magnification meant I was going to see the bird better. And I figured, oh, you're probably going to pay more money for a higher magnification. Sometimes that's true, sometimes it's not. So let's talk about what the numbers mean. So every pair of optics that you buy, I have it's really hard to see with this green screen, but I've got a pair here.
Oh, there
So
you
this
go.
is a pair of Victory SF 10 by 42 binoculars. This is my kind of everyday binocular that I use. And the first number is 10 and the second number is 42. And I've learned, not the most common size of binoculars. So tell us what the first number means, and then we'll talk about the second number. On my binocular that I just showed you, what does the 10 mean?
Well, like Deborah showed in the slide and such, the 10 is the magnification. That's the power. You will see 10 times closer than the naked eye. So, and then the second number is the larger lens at the end, and it is the objective lens, and it's in millimeters. And the larger the objective lens, more light gathering capability there is. And there's a little equation, if you divide the objective lens by the magnification, that'll give you your exit pupil. And by knowing that, you're figuring out how much light will be coming to your eye. So that's why we recommend most of the time an 8 by 42, because you're getting like 5.2 of light into your eye. So
Okay. So
now, oh, I'm sorry to interrupt, but
no, go ahead.
before I forget, not all binoculars, just because you increase the magnification doesn't mean you're going to have a heavier binocular. It's really the objective lens size. A lot of people think, well, if I buy a 10 power, it's going to be heavier, but it's not always the case. It's really the objective lens size contributes to the weight.
So the bigger that second number is, the heavier the binocular is, really. It's the objective lens, not the magnification. Now, you said 8 by 42 is kind of the most general, most popular, most common size that people purchase. So that would be a good size to purchase, to own if you are birding in all habitats. If you want a binocular that's going to work pretty much in any habitat that you're going to be in, outside of some extreme situations, an 8 by 42 is the way to go. But why would someone perhaps choose an 8 by 32? That's a very popular new size. There are several new binoculars on the market right now that have just, several brands that have just come out with 8 by 32s, because more and more people are moving from 8 by 42 to 8 by 32. Why would someone want an 8 by 32 binocular?
Well, like I mentioned with the second number, the objective lens, that's where the weight comes from. So when you go to a 32, you are lightening your load a bit. But it does depend on the manufacturer, on what the materials they use. But
Okay.
A lot of people it's so funny, when we were in San Diego, we were quite surprised that a lot of people were looking for pocket,
Yes.
which is like an 8 by 25, and then 10 by 42s. So it really kind of,
it was the opposite of what we thought was going to be.
we can never plan, so it's nice to have a little bit of everything, because you never know what someone's going to want. But a lot of people are 8 by 32 because they want the lighter binocular, and that's where price does come into play, because when you're going with a smaller objective lens, there is a little bit less light gathering because it is a smaller objective lens. So what you're paying is for more coatings of glass and stuff. So you want to compensate a bit for that sometimes. So like if you're just looking for something to throw in your car, you can get an inexpensive 8 by 32. But I have had several customers that have, because of the the new products that have been coming out with the 8x32, that they've really have been looking forward to that, because they want a really good binocular, but they don't want to carry the weight around as much.
Great. Okay, now let's talk about, we have the more normal magnifications. The most common ones that you'll see when you're looking for birding optics are probably 6.5, once in a while a 7, but 8 and 10 are the most common. But the objective lens comes in a variety of options as well. You have 32, 42, and I've seen 50 as well. I know Swarovski and Zeiss but both make a 50. A couple of the other brands make a 50. What is a circumstance or a birding circumstance that might make people consider, and a 12? So you've got the first number, the magnification, you've got 6.5, 8, 10, and 12. 12 being, you don't have many optics that come in a 6.5 on the low end. You don't have that many that come in a 12. I have birded with a 12x50 size binocular, which is a big mama. That is a big old binocular, and it's heavy. But tell us why someone might want to consider a 10x50 or 12x50, or even a 12x42 binocular. What types of circumstances would make that the size of choice?
Well, when you increase magnification, it affects your field of view, which is basically when you're looking out the binocular, what you see in front of you. And so by going to a 10 power or 12, I have a lot of people who are hawk watchers that go with the 10 power, because they're not really wanting to see so much left or right. They're wanting to get more detail to help, to distinguish between birds. So a lot of people that are into, I hate to say it, not birders, but hunters. I mean,
yeah. Right.
Sorry.
No, but that you're trying to look at something from a distance in a wide open space often, and that's when you're going to want the higher magnification. So if someone were birding in a pelagic situation, maybe do a lot of pelagic birding or shoreline birding. You're looking at birds on a beach where you're looking at a long distance, or you're looking across water, to find, birds that you would see, on the ocean. You're looking at a long distance. Or the time that I used a 12x50, I was birding in Arctic Norway, in the Arctic Circle in summer on a big tundra, and we were literally looking at birds that were miles from us. And that circumstance, the 12x50 was perfect. It wouldn't be what I would use every day, but in that situation, it was great. So think about your habitat, whether you're birding, in a wooded area, in a very dense foliage, or it's more wide open space. If you're doing, like last month in September, Angela and several other of our staff members went to the famed McGee Marsh for a few days, and we went camping and did a little staff retreat and did some birding. And we were birding, doing up close birding in a very densely foliated area. And we were looking at warblers, not really at a distance, but it was more like side to side. We were trying to get on the bird, and the 8x32 was perfect in that environment for me. The smaller, magnification and the smaller objective lens. A 10 or 12x50 would have been just overkill in that environment. But when we got out on Lake Erie, we were looking way out, across the ocean, across the lake. We were looking for gulls and other raptors and things like that. A 12x50, 10x50 is great, or even a 10x42. So when Angela recommends 8x42, that's because that's going to work in almost every situation. So if you are a one binocular kind of person, 8x42 is going to be kind of a tried and true size. Let's talk a little bit, Angie, about personal preferences with optics, because there are many. It's very hard to buy something so personal online, and people do it with us every day. Thank goodness, they're keeping us in business. But it's very hard to try to buy something before you try it, which is one of the reasons I wanted to come down to Lake Apopka next month and have everything there so people can get their hands on things and try them first and figure out what feels good. What are some of the personal preferences that people consider when they're choosing their binoculars?
Well, the first thing, like at festivals, when people can actually, pick up a binocular, that's the thing. Picking up the binocular, feeling the weight, that's the first thing. If they pick it up and it's like, oi, that's too heavy. So there's that. Also, I guess like I was mentioning earlier, your interpupillary distance, how your eyes are. And then also, I guess it's just how it fits in your hand, the ergonomics of it. If the binocular is well balanced, it's really a feel. That's why, we have our return policy, because we're online, and it's crucial to have it in your hand to make sure that it fits, because not every face is the same, not everyone's hand size is the same. So having good eye relief, the weight, the magnification, of course, because like when you increase magnification, not only are you narrowing your field of view, but you're also picking up your subtle like shakiness. Like when you go to 10 to 12 power, a lot of people with the 12 by 50, they'll have it with a monopod or a tripod, because it'll be pretty shaky. So I guess that would probably be the most things, like the diopter location, the focus. Some binoculars have less eye relief, so if you're an eyeglass wearer, that could be an issue. So I guess just knowing those little things will help you the best in helping select a binocular.
Great. We've kind of covered the basics in choosing a binocular, and I do want to reiterate, this is not a commercial for Redstart birding. There are lots of places you can buy optics. We really just wanted to help educate you on what the options are, how to choose an optic for yourself. But I will say that we do live in the golden age of optics. Right now, you can get a really good binocular for under $400, which 10, 15 years ago, you couldn't. You were getting junk if you paid that price. And now, when people are starting out in birding, they don't always want to, just with like any hobby, whether you're, golfing or hiking or kayaking, you don't want to buy the top of the line thing if you're not sure this is something that you're going to do forever. And so you want to kind of dip your toes in the water or get something that you'll be able to enjoy this with, but maybe not, invest full on. And there are so many great options right now. Under $400, under $800, even under $1,200. So those are kind of the three price breaks. If you're looking to buy something, you can get something for around $200 and it will be good to use and get started. You can actually find a decent binocular for under $200. You can find a good binocular under $400 and a great one in the $800 and $1,200 range. You will find something unbelievably good. If you go above that, you're going to get the luxury vehicle of optics. So you're talking, over $1,200. The top of the line binocular right now costs right around $3,000. So anywhere from $1,200 to $3,000, it's a luxury car. You're going to get all the bells and whistles. It's everything you ever wanted. If you go below that, just like if you're buying a house or a car, you're going to figure out for you, what are the most important things to me? Am I looking at, am I buying a house? Are the number of bathrooms the most important thing when I'm buying a house? Is it the number of bedrooms? Is it having a luxury kitchen? You're going to look at your optics in that regard and figure out, well, I need something that is the most ergonomically comfortable for me because I have a bad back or my shoulders get tired when I'm birding or whatever. You're going to figure out what's most important to you. And that's how to approach it. Before we close, I know we've taken up a lot of time here. Maybe we could open it up, Deborah and team, to some questions. Angela and I are happy to answer any questions you guys have about specific brands, binoculars, how to choose a binocular, anything at all that we could help you with. We'd like to open it up.
No, I'd like to make a comment. One thing that you haven't covered very much is close focusing distance, because a lot of us are not just interested in looking at birds that are farther away. We're interested in looking at insects. We're looking at flowers. So I think that's another consideration that people need to think about when they buy a pair of binoculars, because there's some binoculars out there where you cannot do that.
You're absolutely correct. Yes, yes. Thank you. It was because we do have a lot of friends who like to look at butterflies, and so the close focus is very important. Probably one of the most, I guess, common one that I get is the close focus and the lightweight that people are looking for. And a lot of my friends that are kayakers or hikers, they want the lightweight, but they also want the close focus. So thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, that's a very important thing. Any other questions, comments? I think you're still muted, Deborah.
Can you talk a little bit about spotting scopes?
Yeah. Angie, I'll let you speak to this one.
Okay, so spotting scopes are pretty much, it's half a binocular, but with a lot more power. So they come in different sizes and also straight or angled for preference. Like some people, there's not a wrong choice. It's really a personal choice. So with spotting scopes, there's like with binoculars, there's like travel size, there's, full size. And then, so a lot of customers that I get, it really depends on what they're looking for to do with it. I've have people that travel a lot, so they want a compact one that'll fit in their luggage. And then I have some that are into digiscoping, and that's a fun thing to do. I'm new to birding. I did not know much about birding until I started here. And so by digiscoping, it's helped me to learn birds better, to familiarize myself, because I can snap a little photo and then go back, because I'm not skilled enough to e-bird at this point. But so with spotting scope, you're muted, Wendy, I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just saying, Angie's kind of unique in that she knows much more about optics than she does about birds. Although she's been birding, she's a pretty darn good birder now, but she's kind of coming at this from a different perspective because she learned optics first and then really got into birding. So it's kind of a cool difference. And most of us here were probably the other way around. We got into birds, and while we were getting into birds, we got into optics. So she kind of approached it from a different perspective.
Are most waterproof nowadays?
Oh yes, fog and waterproof. That's what, honestly, from what I've gathered, Poro Prism, which is the old style. I don't know if you can see this.
Yeah,
there we go. They're great. They're great binoculars, but because of the design, there are issues. They can't be fog or waterproofed completely. And if you drop it, the prisms can shift it easily. So that's why, some binoculars have cost more, because of now they are in the roof prism style, where it's the straight barrel, like from the eyepiece. And so they help with the, I apologize, my insulin pump just went off. But they are, with the roof prism, they are waterproof and fog proof. And some even to deeper, like up to 3 feet in water. They can be submerged for a period of time before any type of issue with the seal.
I
And
think
that's,
Swarovski and Zeiss both will go up to 6 feet, I believe. And actually Swarovski even deeper, like something like 14, 15 feet.
Oh my goodness. And
yeah.
is there a way to clean them is to put water on them?
well, you want to be careful with the lenses because you don't want to, but you can really just under your faucet, like wash, like I had a customer call, she had tripped and fell in mud, and it was pretty significant from what it sounded like because it was covered pretty good. But you can, yeah, you can wash the armoring, and then I just with the lenses, the ocular lenses are the most important. You want to try to with a can air or brush, like an optic cleaning kit brush, try and remove so much before you add the liquid to try and clean. And you want to rotate your cleaning cloth as you do. You don't want to use the same section for wiping and then drying and from each barrel.
Yeah, and actually, you know, if you're getting down and dirty with it and you're trying to get in the nitty gritty grooves of your binocular, you know, you can, I spray, you know, optical cleaning spray on a Q-tip and get down in there, a brush, all of that. But one thing that we'll do for you when you come see us at Lake Apopka is we'll clean the optics you have for you. At least what you're using, you can see out of a little bit better. It's a little service we provide. So we love to clean optics for you, and we'll do that. We sell cleaning kits. It's very, very important to use fluid that has been made for optics because it does make a difference with how you do it. You don't want to spray anything directly on your product. Or directly on the lens. You want to spray it on a cleaning cloth or on a Q-tip or something. But it's there's a method to the madness with cleaning optics.
What is the substance in there? Is it alcohol or?
And you want to?
That's a really good question. Let me see what it's a solution like you get from your eye doctor. Like if you have eyeglass, I don't know what the actual chemical is in it, but it's not really straight alcohol. I really don't know that answer.
Okay.
It's safer for lenses than using Windex.
Yeah. It's like lens cleaner.
Yeah, it's made especially for eyeglasses and
well, especially
it's
coated.
Made for it's made for glass that is coated, and it protects the glass and cleans the glass.
Are you going to be bringing scopes to the show?
Oh yes. Yeah, and also Digiscope adapters. We work with PhoneScope quite a bit. So if you purchase from us a scope, you also get a free Digiscope adapter with that, with every scope purchase. So we make it to fit through PhoneScope, we make it to fit your particular cell phone and your particular scope. So if you choose to buy a scope from us, you will also get a Digiscope adapter.
So there's a very, very good article by Audubon, National Audubon, that you all can look up on choosing binoculars. And it gives them names some brands in the different price ranges. Could some of our people do their research in advance and then contact you to make sure you're bringing such and such?
Absolutely. Yeah, you can contact Angela at sales@redstartbirding.com or through our website, redstartbirding.com. We have, Audubon does have a great article, and they have rated different optics in that article. We also, the video that you saw, Deborah, that we did recently for the Hawaii Island Festival of Birds, another colleague of mine recommended the top 4 staff picks from our staff in each price range. So we actually review 16 different binoculars in 4 different price ranges. So yeah, you can certainly do your homework, do your research, and we will try to bring as much inventory as we have when we come down. We're doing a lot of shipping in December, and but I'll bring all the stuff that I think everybody wants. So if you guys let us know what that is, we'll try to get our hands on it for you. And again, this isn't supposed to be a sales thing, but you will get a discount buying in person from us that you wouldn't get if you bought it online or from anybody else. So we'll be selling at a discount to you directly when we're there in December.
And you can always call me, toll free. The numbers on the website, or I can give it to you if you'd like. But it's spotting scopes. There's some very exciting things out there, like modular kits where you can buy, an eyepiece and then different size objective lenses to customize. It's pretty cool what's available out there. And they, they have multiple functions. Like I'm going to have my scope out for the full moon on Saturday, and hope to take some pictures of that. So it's kind of nice that you can do multiple things with your equipment.
Are there any more questions? We learned a lot. So,
Well, I hope so. I hope we didn't just tell you what you already know, but I think, when you're talking to a large group of people like this, you have people probably at all different, areas of skill and experience and expertise with optics and all of that. So hopefully we've hit everybody at some level and inspired you to do some homework and other things, but there are some fantastic new products right now on the market.
so while we've got a bunch of people here, you want to raise your hands? How many use 8x42s now? 8x42s?
Not everybody has their camera on, but
I use 10s and 8s, like 8s for warblers, 10s for ducks. And
Thanks for ducks, But these 8x32s, that's a new thing then. So we'll have to try
it's
that.
not that new. I mean, yes and no. It's just that not every brand made them before, and now they're seeing that they're becoming more popular. That is my go-to size. I love 8x32s. I don't like a heavy binocular. I even have larger hands and all of that. It's not that my hands are small, but I just don't. I like to not think about the fact that I'm even wearing a binocular. So I love an 8x32 in almost every setting. I do have 10x42s, and I have a 12x50 pair as well, but I only pull those out for me when I know I'm going to be birding in a situation where I need them. But I'm an 8x32 gal all the way.
All right. Well, we're going to talk a few more birds, but thank you again so much, and we're looking forward to seeing you. Let me go back to the bird slide, and Sam. Anybody want to comment on anything interesting they've seen this week?
I did see
go ahead.
actually, Sam, you're the one with the best bird, I think, this week.
Well, but the masked booby?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good. But locally, I mean, I went down to Fort Pierce and got that bird that's been seen, subtropic bird. So that was kind of good with a Fowler rope. But I got a message today. There's about 1,000 more ringneck ducks showed up at Apopka. So there, and it looks like if you look at some of the lists that are coming in on eBird, a lot of those numbers that we've been seeing, the shovelers, the widgeons, teal, coot, everything's starting to pick up. So we're kind of getting into winter, even though it's 90 degrees. So that's good.
Great.
And I had 3 great horned owls at McDonald Canal this morning.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
I didn't see them. I did record them, which I just remembered I got to add to my list. But yeah, when I got out of the car to ride bikes this morning, there was 2 calling, and I went over and tried to find them, and I was recording them, and another one called behind me across the road. So it was kind of cool.
Wow.
Anything else? Anybody else?
I think the Vireos are still being seen at Mead. I
What
think
is-
last time I saw 2 of them, so
What's
The
that?
Vireo?
Philadelphia Vireos.
Philadelphia Ferris. And did they ever figure out whether the flycatcher was yellow-bellied or Acadian?
No, it's everybody's got differing opinions. And I don't know. I sat with Paul yesterday for 2 hours and we talked about it. Nobody has a definitive answer yet. So I've just marked it as an Ipd because I don't have the patience to argue about it. So and I don't know enough about it, but everybody's started to lean towards Acadian now, but it went from yellow-bellied to trails to Acadian to who knows, and nobody's seen it in 4 or 5 days.
Oh,
No.
okay.
So, but I know on Sunday, Karen yelled at somebody for playing a call like crazy, which you don't need to do there. And nobody's seen it since then. So not that that's the reason, but there was probably 60 people looking at that bird at one point. So it's, nobody's seen it since, but nobody's made a definitive decision on it. I'm hoping they get it more of these pictures to Bruce Anderson, but Paul said, people have sent him 50 pictures and it looks